the Doctor of Digital at the Doctor of Digital podcast. I got a great episode for you today. Thanks for joining us. This is Psychology, Power, Performance, Vladimir's formula for sales success. Purpose of the show exists to transform your life and business through conversations that inspire, equip, and uplift. I connect busy people to powerful voices, authors, leaders, and world changers you should know. What if your sales team could close faster, align deeper, and perform better without adding new leads or pressure? Vladimir helps teams do exactly that. In this episode, we dive deep into the psychology of high stakes alignment and the invisible forces that drive decision making. And you'll discover how Vladimir equips professionals to build lasting relationships and influence, not through manipulation, but through precision, clarity, and trust. Vladimir is a master of strategic alignment and psychological influences. Trained by the Kaladini Institute in camp negotiations, he brings cutting-edge methods to sales leaders and organizations seeking transformation. From rescuing stalled deals to unlocking lean performance, Vladimir has helped hundreds of professionals achieve tangible results like 74% close rates, salary increases, and role restructures at the highest levels. His proven approach delivers a 1,100 ROI by turning psychology into strategy and strategy into revenue. You'll hear real-life examples of how Vladimir helps sales professionals shift their mindsets, resolve internal conflicts, and align with decision makers to close even the most complex deals. Whether you're a sales leader, founder, or high performer, this episode is packed with insights that you can apply immediately to drive clarity, connection, and conversation. Ready to boost your close rate, rewire resistance, and build influence that sticks? Contact Vladimir and explore his one-to-one coaching and team building programs. DM the word align to start a conversation about psychological clarity, how it can drive your breakthrough. With that, I want to welcome Vladimir to the program. How are you doing today? It's good to see you again, my friend.
Hey, Dr. Mick, thank you so much for a great introduction, and good to see you too.
Likewise. I'm always curious, how did you come across something which is groundbreaking? So please tell us, how did you come up with this amazing way of doing business?
It's been a journey, and I spent many years in corporate environment working as a corporate employee, the IT professional, and the business analyst, and then manager and agile professional. And I've been laid off many times, and I always had some rebellion spirit. I wanted to tell people what I think, and I always has been dissatisfied with what I'm seeing, and dissatisfied with how corporate America works. And by the way, not only in America but everywhere. So the challenge here is that you kind of need to balance your feeling of what is right with your ability to send a message. And some of my prior superiors said to me, Vlad, pick your battles, because it may hurt you. And in many cases, people in a corporate environment, they kind of pace themselves with what they say. They don't say everything freely, so to speak. So they pick their battles. And what's interesting is that it sounds like you kind of need to find the balance, kind of finding the edge of where you can say what you think and ask for what you want, but not being forceful. How can you say it without tipping over? How to be candid and talk about what you need and what you want and what you think is right without pushing people away. And how do you find that edge of winning without compromising your position or without compromising the relationship with others? I found the purpose in building business because it has been a struggle of myself, and it has been a struggle for other people, as how I see it. So there's also interesting saying. So people are hired for hard skills, and they've been laid for soft skills. Have you heard that?
Yes, I have heard that. It's a good one.
Yeah. So that's the question. So many people actually put so much emphasis on the hard skills,
Mm,
and they underemphasize or they overlook the soft skills that are so critical. And uh, since I started working on that, I started to meet top experts in negotiation and influence fields, and people who are excellent at communication. They're superior, and they can take on challenges you would never think about, like multi-billion-dollar deals, changing the behavior, large groups and industries, and um, pretty much saving people's lives. And among them, Joseph Graney, and the author of one of the authors of Crucial Conversations and Crucial Accountability. You might have heard of him. Jim Camp started now the negotiation system, and Robert Cialdini influences psychology of persuasion. So I was completely sold on their system and their principle and their approaches to challenging situations, challenging conversations, and their system are so fundamental, so basic. It's kind of like a law of gravity, but in communication, and the law of gravity that always works. And I thought if you know the law of gravity, then you can do much more if you don't. So if you don't know the law of gravity, you will be okay. You will be, moving on the surface. That's fine. But when you know the law of gravity, you can build complex systems. You can build complex constructions and system that works without friction. When you understand the law of gravity, you can actually find the edge where the gravity still works, and and it will be a quite complex system. And that is what brought me into the field, because I want to understand how we human make decisions. What actually drives us? What is that communication edge that you want to take? And how can you influence people without pushing them away, without making that fool's choice between telling the truth or breaking the relationships? We don't want to, get stuck in that fool's choice. There is a third way. Is how to tell the truth, how to speak your mind without being abrasive, without being abusive, and without pushing people away, without compromising the relationship. And that is the art. That is the art of how to facilitate decision.
Now, I understand part of these ideas are in your book, and it was also multi-authored. So a lot of people are interested. How does that come about, and how did you become part of a multi-author book? And tell us a little bit about what's in the book itself, too.
Yeah. So that's very interesting. So when I was working, um, in corporate environment, I've seen many different leaders, many different managers, and some of them grew, some of them not. Some of them just sat at their positions for 20, 30 years and were happy there. But few of them were different. And the difference was in that they could unlock any challenging situation and
Okay.
very quickly, and they were able to find words and have a single conversation about the challenging problem and move this forward. So I remember one time I was hired in one organization to lead a project that hasn't started. And the project was about to start, but it was so large that there were some stakeholders that needed approval. and they hired me. And for 1 year, I was waiting for the project to start. They couldn't approve the project for a year. They hired a professional to manage that. They couldn't reach agreement about the funding, about the timing, about the scope, and they would always debate that. And imagine there are some people who know the right words to say to the right ears, and that has always been fascinating me. What if I found a person like that? I always would ask, like, what did you say? What exactly do you say to unlock the situation? What made the difference? So I was always curious about that, and uh, this was the most challenging questions. What can you say so powerfully that you can unlock a disagreement, a challenge, a struggle? How do you apply the rule of human interaction that you can move forward projects and agreements and
Yeah.
approvals? So there's a Dr. Cialdini, and he figured out 7 principles of influence. And those principles, they work like law of gravity. So it is, we are wired to follow them. And the only time when we're not following them is, when we have some psychological difficulties with us. So if you are kind of normal, regular people, then we follow those 7 rules, 7 principles. There are more of them, but those 7 are most common and the most
Okay.
profound. They, they, they take priority when we make decisions. And he described those principles, and there's a book, so you can read that, and and you understand how to influence others without positional power, power of authority. How can you do that, and how could you do your best better, if you would, without overpowering others, and how do you solve problems that others couldn't solve for months and years? And in my book, it is examples of applying those principles.
I see.
So me and other authors from Cialdini Institute, so we are founding members, we got together and we wrote a book about how do we apply those principles in our life to get results. And if you ever wanted a number of examples of how to apply those principles, if you ever wanted to see how other people do that, and especially the people who are certified as Cialdini professionals, you can find it in this book. And my particular chapter, it is about the connection between trust, between respect, and the principle Cialdini of liking. And it is focused on creating safety in conversation, creating trust, which is so important, because without trust, people tell you no, no matter what. The trust is the number one reason, or lack of trust, is the number one reason why people say no. No matter if your proposal is brilliant, you can actually, if you're talking to sales, you could reach out to people and offer them gold for nothing. They will still tell you no if they don't trust you.
True.
Does sound familiar?
So if this is somebody that was thinking of this, of course, you should at least mention the name of the book, because this does look like it would be very interesting to other people. And it's multi-authored. So what parts of saying, well, how do you publish this? Was this published through the Institute with other people? And also people are always interested, how do you find a publisher and what was that process like?
Sure. Yeah, the book is called The Influence Advantage. This is a big title, The Influence Advantage. There's some subtitle, but that's what you need to remember, The Influence Advantage. And we wrote that with the other 5 founding members, Cialdini Institute founding members. So we all founding members in Cialdini Institute. And how it happened, it's pretty interesting that when we got together as a Cialdini group, and we interacted quite a bit in different seminars and
Hmm.
and practice sessions. And one of the members, also a founding member, said, "Hey, let's write the book together." And he created a cohort of people. So I always thought about writing a book, and I always thought about being an author, and I was thinking about different ideas about book, but I never had the guts to commit to that and do it from start to the end and publish it. There are too many questions of how to do things. And in this case, it was easy because I just needed to say yes and pay a relatively small fee for publishing. And it was just around 1,500, not a lot of money, but around 1,500 to write a chapter in a book. So, and that that's how it started. So I just joined the cohort. And what is beneficial about the cohort when you do a multi-author book is that you actually being responsible for the full success and being responsible for hitting the milestones. So if there is a writing milestone and you need to complete a certain amount of writing, a certain chapter or whatever by a certain time, then you can just you know that that your milestone is coming up, and you can just sit and write. And writing, I would say, talk about the process. Writing a book, it's sort of a mental muscle. So it's a matter of start, like many other things. So if you start writing, it will come to you. But if you will be thinking about it and will not put the words on paper, it will never come to you. So you improve by doing that. So from that perspective, this is how it started. I started to write, and I wrote several drafts, and I ran them through AI, of course, and asked different questions about how to improve it. But essentially, it's my story, it's my idea, with some help of AI, of course, to improve and to see how I can have certain eliminating certain things that I don't want to have, like bias or
Mm.
maybe some repetitions, other things, and uh, maybe improve some of the style. So you can actually ask whatever you want, and then you rewrite the chapter um, as you think it's appropriate. So and regarding the publisher, the process was quite easy. So it was well defined. And the
Mm.
publisher, I didn't choose the publisher, so that the leader of cohort chose the publisher. But over time, I took over the role of the group leader and started to interact with publisher directly, because something happened to that group leader while we were doing this project. And mind you, that took a year to publish the book because of different circumstances. But it doesn't have to be a year, actually. If you know the process, you write quickly. It could
Hmm.
be some people publish a few books a year. I know that because I know people who do that, a few books a year. But if you pace yourself, it may take a year, but you will publish eventually. So it's a matter of start.
The number of things that are said are very interesting, and of course, this is typical issues. It's first of all, you think about who am I to write, so that's often the imposter syndrome. But it's also using AI as a tool, which is being very effective and can be used as a writing tool. And also the idea of multi-authors, which is really a great strategy to break into the field. So if a person isn't knowing everything, which very few of us do, how about writing and collaborating with others, and also the publishing process? So in your case, it was pretty seamless, although you're right, it doesn't necessarily take a year. I say there's a book you can come out in 90 days, but that's how it works out. But would you be thinking of what's the subsequent from that, and what has happened since that? Since the book has been out, have you gotten some response to it? You think about writing another book, or where do we go from here?
Yeah, it's a good question. What happened since then? Well, first of all, it's a personal pride when you have a book. You feel
Mhm.
differently when
Yeah.
you're an author, and for many people, having a book it's something that they accomplished, something that they wanted to do, um, and just couldn't get to it. And once you wrote a book, you know what it is. It's not so
Mhm.
scary anymore. So from this perspective, uh, the first book probably is the hardest. So yes, I was lucky to join the
Yeah.
cohort and being
Right.
selected for that, and I'm proud for agreeing to that, making step forward and actually accomplishing that. And we have a great group of people. We were supporting each other. We were reading each other's chapters,
Mhm.
commenting on that. We also during the publishing, we also help each other to find the people who would endorse the book. So I think that we asked a few dozens of people to read our book before we published it and provide endorsement. And we collected a lot of support, including support of Brian Tracy. Actually, Brian Tracy endorsed our book.
Wow.
Brian Tracy. So
Oh, yeah.
yeah, I'm pretty proud of the members on this on our board actually reached out to Brian and asked for his endorsement, and he got it.
Wow.
So it's pretty good. And like my senior partner Jim Camp, um, he also wrote a book, and Jim Camp Jr. He is a co-owner of the negotiation company Camp Negotiations, and his father, Jim Camp Sr. He wrote a revolutionary book, Start with No, and this book is recommended as or it's actually a mandatory reading in many universities
Mm.
because it's so profound, and it's on the top of the bookshelves in many universities and libraries because of its impact. And Jim Camp Jr., his son, he's now a co-owner of the Camp Negotiations, and he endorsed my book as well. So he wrote he read my book, and he endorsed and specifically when I'm talking about the chapter of building trust and um, the liking principle. So this is very important for negotiation, specifically
Right.
when you're negotiating with people. The first order of business is to establish trust. How to do that? It could be tricky if people are negative. It could be tricky if people could be suspicious, if they would be not sure of your purpose,
Mm.
if they will be expecting you to sell, especially salespeople have bias against them. So the first thing they need to do they need to establish trust and get people relaxed. And this is very important for them. They need to demonstrate their respect because those concepts are connected: the respect and the trust and the liking.
You
I probably didn't hit all your questions, or maybe kind of I started to drift away.
No, I think
So could you get us on track, please?
it does seem to address, because I was asked about the post, what you really talked about after the publication, but you address the post-launch, which is really important. Just as the launch is important, what you do afterwards is really critical as well too.
Okay,
And also the application of those principles within the book are, of course, really important, which is what you do in your practice.
yeah. So let me add a couple of words here because I want to say that as part of our deal of writing a book was the bestseller campaign, and the publisher just ran the bestseller campaign in in Amazon and other and other book networks, whatever. I don't even know what it is, sincerely. And the publisher actually sent us, well, the owner of the publishing company sent us um, the PDF with steps of how to exercise marketing. But sincerely, I didn't bother because first of all, he did a wonderful best-selling campaign, and we hit like #1 bestseller in 7 categories. And the second is my marketing more about getting to know people. So my biggest marketing is just to get with people one-on-one and talking to them and getting to know them in person, build that trust, talking to them about talking to them about what they think about negotiation. So the biggest problem that I have like 2 problems. First of all, is to first of all, it's kind of get 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 the people to talk about negotiation. Many people say like, well, I don't negotiate. I really don't need it, right? I'm okay. I'm good. And yes, we are all good. We really don't need to improve our negotiation. But does it mean that we don't want that? That's a different story. So we we may not need it, but if we improve our negotiation style, there would be many more opportunities opening up for us. So so that's the first problem. And the second problem is when we talk about negotiation, what it means, the answers are all over the map. Everybody thinks about negotiation differently, and most of the people think negotiation is pushing people, tactical gamesmanship, some fooling and tricking people into something, overcoming objections, win-win. There's so many misconceptions about that. And that's my second biggest problem, because people just have no idea what negotiation is about. And when people are in negotiation, they don't even realize that they are in the negotiation, because they don't really see what is going on, and they think it's just a normal conversation. But when the situation start to be a little bit emotional, and the stakes are raising, they immediately cave in, or they go away, because they hate to be in that space where it is risky. When it takes effort, when it takes skills, they just avoid that, and that they don't call negotiation. They call negotiation, but this is something that they perceive as a struggle and a huggle, and they don't want to do that. So essentially, people just don't get a grasp of how negotiations look like, to avoid all of this, and how to be more confident in negotiating. So what I do is I offer people 90 minutes of free negotiation coaching, just to give them a sampler, a taste of what negotiation coaching is. So that's my marketing. That's my true marketing. And to my clients, I give them a book, and I say, well, this will help you. At the same time, reading a book will not change you. Reading a book, you can learn about, you can get to know about, the concept. But it doesn't mean that you will apply it, because applying anything that is related in the realm of challenging conversations, first of all, you need to realize what you're getting in a challenging conversation, how to avoid that, but without compromising on what you really want to have. So that is important to understand, that you should not run away from your success, and you should not run away from the challenging conversation, from the kind of a conflict, if you would call it a conflict, but maybe conflict of interest when people want different things. How do you solve the problem without compromising?
So you touched on some really key points here. How to say the right things at the right time, which all has to do with the psychology. The trust level that you experience with an individual means that you can conduct conditions and get to them properly, and also the negotiation aspect. With all of this, of course, I'm sure there's people that say, this now has rang the bell in their head. How did they get a hold of you? What's the book called again? Remind them where they can pick that up. And of course, how do they reach out to you? How can you assist them and where?
Yeah, so first of all, they can all people who want to learn about negotiation get a negotiation sampler that 90 minutes. I offer to anyone who has ambition to grow, who are open to change, who think like they could improve their conversational style, who have things at stake. So please reach out to me at LinkedIn. So just find by my name. My name is pretty unique. I only know one another person with this same name, Vladimir Bushin, and this is the author from Russia actually. So he's writing books, and you will find me, and you will see me. You will recognize me, and you will see the book right on the banner of my LinkedIn. It's called The Influence Advantage. You will find it there, right at the top, and I help all variety of people. So, for example, one of my clients came to me and said, "Hey, I put some money in a trust, and now I want to spend some of the money, but the trustee doesn't distribute the money, and no matter what I say, for a few weeks I cannot get the money. What do I do?" And we sit together, we crafted the message, and send that message, and the money was released immediately the same day. And the other example is one of my clients came to me and said, "Hey, I'm chasing this deal for 3 months or 4 months, and the people on the other side of the company, they say like they like the product, they want to buy it, but they don't do it, and they constantly kind of give me a ping pong to different people, and I don't know how to get through that, and I don't know how to move things forward, and I'm about to tell them that they are not accountable, and they're not doing what they say." And we had one consultation. We crafted a message. We put the right mission and purpose in that message, send it out. The deal was closed in 7 days. So I got the response 7 days. So I always was fascinated about how to say the right words, how to find the right words to say, what is right, what is not right. And I dedicated 5 years to figure that out. So in 2020, I started the community of practice for negotiation. And since then, I learned more and more and more of that. And I started to meet amazing people who are really good at that. And company, I had some interview with them as well. So you can reach out via LinkedIn, or you can write me an email at vb@bushinconsulting.com, and maybe you can post it after this interview somewhere. So they can just send me an email. And yeah, if you want to write a book, if you want to connect with the publisher, I can give you contact as well. We'll be happy to help you to start with the book, and share my experience writing the book as well. If you want to write about negotiation, reach out to me. I would be interested to do that in collaboration with you, because I'm collecting stories, I'm collecting use cases, and there's a lot of them. Everybody have their own challenge, and as I work with people, I have more and more stories to talk about negotiation.
Very good. So thank you very much for sharing your information, all your expertise, and all the things that you have and you've learned over the course of years. Thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it. I know you're busy. I thank you for taking some time out. Good to see you again, Vladimir. Be well. Thanks for being my guest
Thank you.
today.
My pleasure, Nick. Thank you so much.
Bet. You know, if you are wanting to write a book, and of course, everybody can do it, and Vladimir is doing it and give you a good example of it. You want to know more about me? Create a valued book in 90 days. I assist business leaders, CEOs, and entrepreneurs break through their obscurity through written presentations, which builds credibility, authority, shortens sales cycles, and you get an ROI in that. You can also connect on LinkedIn, of course, Idea to Author Coach on School and Facebook. Always willing to help out. You know, I do want to thank the promoters of the program and the sponsors, that is the publishers of both Burning America and On Track, Ian Hunter, for their assistance with my work. Again, once again, this is the Doctor of Digital. Thank you so much for signing in and checking us out today. Until next time, this is the Doctor of Digital signing off. Deus Volt.